Hello guys, welcome back to Callyalater Podcast, episode 8. My name is John.
Hi guys, I'm Kelly. This is already our 8th episode.
2 months of Callyalater.
Crazy. It's been so much fun.
It really has. It's been a fun ride.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna have to do like an episode once we get to like a milestone.
A recap,
and,
yeah.
Recap everything, what we've learned. But today we are going to be talking all about the importance of communication in a relationship. Last week we talked all about switching over to online classes and how to handle them. Like I mentioned, we're college students, so our semester did just end recently, but with the whole quarantine we had to like transfer online, so we talked all about that because I feel like a lot of other college students and even high schoolers
every college student, to be honest,
made the switch. So if you guys want to listen to that, you can watch us on YouTube as well. That is over there. But today we're going to be talking all about trust before communication. You can't communicate well without trust, how honesty is key, and if you're not on the same wavelength, like if you're not like thinking the same, because you're not going to be thinking the same as your partner or whoever you're with. So we're going to talk about that and like just having to be yourself and like being with the other person and like texting do's and don'ts of communication in a relationship. So anything else that you want to add to that?
No, I think that was a good summary.
So last week John did our little disclaimer.
Yes,
but I'm
you
back
got it
at
this
it.
week. You got it
I'm
this
back
week.
at it. It's my job. So I just want to be like mentioning this can be a really touchy subject, especially with regards to having bad past experiences, because I think everyone has different expectations slash what would it be, like realities of relationships.
Yeah, everybody has a different definition of it.
Yeah, and like everyone has different past experiences because everyone's life is so different. So again, every situation is very different. So like our points have worked for us, but again, it could be so different for anyone else. So just take that with a little grain of salt. Like, okay. Casually do that little flex. All right. So our biggest thing is trust. Before communication, you have to have some sort of trust with whoever you're with, even friends, but this is going to be all about dating. So John, what is your definition of trust?
So we were discussing this earlier, and it's hard to define because it really is different for everyone. Every relationship's going to have a different balance of trust. But for me, my personal definition is how you feel when you're with and without the person. If you feel safe, if you feel like you can really confide in them, and then when you're not with them, if you can really, the best way to say it, if the relationship is safe. If you can trust them, it's how you feel when you're away from them.
Yeah,
I guess is the best way.
It was really hard for me to come up with like a definition for it because it's kind of more of a feeling. You just feel like you could trust the person. So I did Google it. And according to Google, trust is a firm belief in the reliability, trustability, or strength of someone or something. Okay. So it's like, I don't know, for me it's just kind of like you know that they're going to pull through with whatever they say they're going to do. So going into that, we kind of both talked about how trust is built on time. Like you have to like have time to build certain trust. And it's also a two-way street. Yeah, it's a give and get. Yeah, so like you have to be trusting to be trustful. Would that be right? Yeah, to be trusted, you have to trust. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. It's you have to. It's a two-way street. It really is. You have to be loyal. You have to. I don't know. I always think of that Chris Brown song. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes, I do. Yeah, I don't know. You just have to be able, before you can properly communicate in a relationship, you have to know that there's that mutual respect there. I think respect has a lot to do with it too. Definitely. In terms of trust, because if you don't respect your partner, you're not going to trust them, and vice versa. So. And I think like when we started, like before we started dating, like when we were just talking and stuff, we had a full-on conversation about like, trust and stuff. And I think that's okay to do. Like I think communication, you have to talk about these things. It's a blunt question that you can ask, But it's like important to throw that out there because everyone's definition is so different about it. I also said you don't want to be second-guessing yourself or who you're with. Exactly. So like you don't want to be second-guessing yourself on like what you're doing because if that affects them, but also you don't want to be second-guessing like when you're not with them. Like, are they doing this? Like, it's just kind of like that trust makes you not question that kind of stuff. But you don't want to be blinded. No. But there's just like that level. You have anything else? No, I kind of agree with all of that. We definitely agree on a lot of those things there. And then we went into honesty is very important. Yes. And I feel like trust and honesty go hand in hand. You have to have one to have the other. Lying kills relationships. Definitely. That is the first thing I put, and it's one of the only things I put because it's so true. It's as simple as that. Big picture. I Googled honesty. Had to really like get in touch with my morals and my roots with
Definitely
via Google. So honesty is when you speak the truth and act truthfully. And I again Googled this. So it said honest partners in a healthy relationship do not knowingly give misinformation.
Yeah.
So basically you're not lying. That's just a different way to say that. And then however, being honest doesn't mean being rude, unkind, or aggressive. Okay. So you don't want to like, even though you want to be honest, you don't want to be bluntly honest where it hurts the other's feelings. In a way.
You don't
like,
want to be rude.
It's not an excuse to be rude.
But if something is going to, if there's something that could potentially cause a hinder in the relationship, even if it would potentially hurt the person, you need to say it.
I think that goes into like wording is everything within communication.
Absolutely.
But that goes with anyone, but especially in a romantic relationship, you have to be careful of how you word things.
Definitely.
Because it's like not just your feeling, it's their feelings as well.
Definitely. Don't hide anything that you don't want hidden from you. That's something I wrote down.
Can you elaborate?
So, if you wouldn't want something hidden from you, if it would hurt you, if it happened.
Okay.
If you're doing that,
like if you did something that would hurt me, I wouldn't do that to you.
Exactly. If I felt like if I was doing something that I felt like would hurt me, if you did it to me, I shouldn't hide that from you because it's wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
That's kind of the way I thought about it.
Okay. I also said you want your words to match your actions. So, like, do as you say.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, your actions speak louder than words. And then, like, if you say you're going to do something, follow through and do it because that helps build honesty and builds trust within that person. Because then they don't start going, like, well, they didn't really do that after they said that. And that starts to build that doubt.
Yeah. Doubt plays a lot into it.
Yeah. And then I think that kind of goes into a little bit into insecurities you might have, which is normal. Everyone has insecurities, even if they're very tiny. But you just want to, like, build trust and honesty so that it's not an issue in your relationship. Do you have anything else?
That's about it. I only had 2 bullet points for those, and that it was just because those were kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah, I think they're very similar. I also mentioned no one is perfect, so you need to be able to accept others. So, like, say you have this, like, perfect vision of what you want your partner to be like.
That will never happen.
That's never going to happen. No. And you can't hold them to a standard that's not real.
Yeah.
And I think that can really go into that, like, you don't trust them or something. I think it kind of goes in there. I don't really know how to word it perfectly.
There's compromise in a relationship.
Exactly. And that kind of goes in, you have to trust the person with those compromises. Does that make sense? Okay. So then, no one's a mind reader. This is a big one. So they don't know what you're thinking and feeling, and then they can't connect with you because no one really knows exactly what you're thinking unless you vocalize it or share with the other.
And this goes hand in hand with honesty.
Definitely.
You have to be honest about the things that are sitting in the back of your mind and just simmering, because if you let something simmer, it's going to explode into something much bigger than it is originally.
Exactly. So in a relationship, you have to talk these things out because otherwise you're just going to be like inside your head freaking out about it, and the other person's not going to know what's going on. So I mentioned you have to be open about your thoughts and feelings and trusting your person to be nice about your thoughts and feelings. Yeah. So again, that goes into that trust, that you trust them to share your thoughts and feelings with.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. Yeah.
And then it's important to talk it out. Because, for example, we were talking about this earlier because we were, like, discussing what we're going to talk about today. And I was like, remember that one time we were both, like, we were just kind of, like, thinking we were both thinking about the same thing. Yes. And you were like, we need to talk this out. We don't want anything else to happen about it. And it wasn't, like, an argument, but it was just kind of, like, we disagreed on something.
We both thought each other were thinking something else.
I think we thought we were thinking the same thing.
Okay.
Like, I thought we were both, like, upset about the same thing. And it turns out it was 2 totally different things. And honestly, I didn't even know what you were thinking. Like, that would have never even crossed my mind until we started talking about it. And it goes back to, no one's a mind reader. No. You have to talk about it.
Absolutely. And that excuse me, that could lead into a one-sided relationship. You know, if one person always fesses up in their feelings and the other just keeps everything buried. One-sided relationships aren't fun, fair, or safe. They never go right. They only go wrong. So
they only go left.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you fess up. Yeah. You know, just say what you're feeling. Word it in a way that's not going to tear the heart up of someone else. Yeah.
Again, but you have to word things in a way that it won't hurt the other's feelings, but also you have to make sure you're gonna have to put yourself out there. Yeah. And that's part of communication. Is definitely. Even though it's scary, you have to be yourself.
Yeah. Trust is earned, not given.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have have anything else on that?
That was
okay,
it for
so
me.
then that goes into the importance of being yourself.
Yeah.
Do you want to start us off with this one?
You know, I think that this one plays a lot into the being vulnerable. If you come in with a fake smile, it's never going to be real.
Exactly.
You know, you have to come in and from the beginning of a relationship, just be honest. You know, everything is snowballing into one bigger thing here. Everything we've talked about comes right into this of the being yourself.
The start of that first date, even before the first date, when that person meets you, that's who they're gonna like think of, you know. And then it's like, if you say you like this, like, sure, you can like different things as you go along, but they're gonna remember like, oh, you like this, right? Like, so you don't want to be lying about what you like and dislike.
Be honest from the beginning.
You don't want to be like, oh, I heard he likes this kind of music, I love this kind of music, and then like that can just get so out of hand and start causing that miscommunication down the line if you get serious.
Yeah, definitely, because there are other, as much as bad as it sounds, it's the old classic saying, there's other fish in the sea. You know, if you don't match up with somebody, it's just not meant to be.
You can't push something that's not going to work. Definitely. Yeah, so I mentioned they should and most likely will like you for who you are. So just keep being true to yourself. I think that's important because it's going to make the communication a lot easier because you're not going to have to be like, what do I say to this? Like, how do I respond? It's like, just be genuine in who you are and they'll like you for you. Yeah. And then also, it can be scary, but opening up builds a bond. It builds the trust. It builds the honesty. Yeah. So your thoughts, feelings, challenges, weakness, all that kind of stuff, as scary as it is to talk about, it builds the relationship.
And it'll feel better in the end.
You always feel better after a nice deep conversation. And it helps build the feelings of acceptance, support, and love within the relationship as well.
Definitely. Because
you start to count on that person. It just is a big part of the communication factor. Okay. Cool. All right. Last little category. Yeah. And then we wanted to share our texting do's and don'ts of communication in a relationship. Yeah. So there is quite a few of them, and I figured we'd start with the do's before the don'ts. Okay. You vibe with that?
Sure, I'm down with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Do you want to like ping pong or like start with you?
Sure. Let's roll back and forth. Let's roll back and forth. All right. I said. It depends on where you're at in the relationship. Definitely. If it's new or old, but do send cute little compliments. Oh, just definitely. Like little things here or there, or if like you have seen them in the day, afterwards just shoot them like a, hey, you looked really nice today, or whatever.
Yeah. I think those like just kind of spark the relationship. It keeps it like fresh.
And you're putting a smile on the other person's face, you know?
Like I said, be nice and have fun. Like have a fun, flirty conversation, but also like play a game as you're texting. Be like, hey, what's your favorite color? Or just thinking of you, saw this movie, thought you might like it. You know, like simple things like that. Honestly, I think
little things.
It really is though. I think we could do like a whole podcast episode of texting do's and don'ts, like just the texting in a relationship, but also texting anyone. So if you guys want to see that, let us know. Shoot in the comments below. Yeah. Or like DM us or stuff. Yeah. Okay. So another one that I have for do is respond timely. Definitely. This goes hand in hand with do's and don'ts. So you want to text back quickly, but you don't want to be like
the second they respond.
You kind of want to make it like you don't want to play the game because you don't want to take forever to respond, and you don't want to be that person that John texted me and he took an hour to respond, so I'm going to take an hour and 5 minutes to respond. Don't be that person. No one likes texting those people. And then it makes it like you just start overthinking and you put more time into waiting than actually texting. Exactly. But also, you don't want to be the 1 second and then it puts the pressure on to keep responding quickly. But you also have to be aware that they might not text you right away because people are busy.
You have to be okay with it.
Yeah. You have to learn to be okay with it. You have to have trust that nothing bad's happening or nothing's going on, that they're not texting you if they left their phone somewhere.
Exactly. People are busy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's like my do and don't. That one kind of went into both, but it's mainly my do is you just want to respond timely.
Yeah. So this is also kind of a do and don't for me. If it's a one-sided conversation, bail out of it. Don't carry dead weight.
So I went into be engaging and make conversation. You have to be interested in the other. Ask questions. Make it, if they send a paragraph back. Yeah. So it's kind of, you have to have that, you don't want it to be one-sided.
Exactly.
You have to
it's a push and pull.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Yeah, okay. Another one I have, and we're going to talk about this next week, is use emojis. Definitely. We're going to talk all about our emojis next week. It's going to be fun.
There also might be some YouTube content headed your way.
Yes. But I think emojis, especially in a romantic relationship, like texting, really just adds a little something else.
Adds a spice to it.
So I think that's a do. Do you have any other do's?
No, that was all my do's really.
I guess that was all mine too.
Yeah, it was
we kind of had similar ones that worked well together.
And that was kind of on my don'ts as well because they were combined together.
Oh, okay, you don't have any don'ts? I have a few don'ts.
Go for it. That's all you.
Okay, so like I mentioned, don't take forever to respond, but also don't send a lot of text messages all at once.
Don't send a paragraph in 5 different messages.
Exactly. Or don't send 5 paragraph messages before they respond.
Yeah.
It's scary. And it's like intimidating when you preview it and you're like, oh my gosh.
Never double text if you don't have to.
I think there's not a problem with double texting, but you have to be at a point where it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But also, you don't want to be annoying by double texting.
Don't say, hey, why haven't you responded yet? Or, hey, did you miss my message? Or, hey, I think you accidentally left me on red. If you ever have to say that,
it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then, my other big don't is don't have all your conversation in the text.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
We text a lot.
Mm-hmm. I guess that is my don't. I kind of forgot about that. Yeah.
We text a lot, like when we're not together, but we don't have our main conversations via text.
Any serious conversation we have in person.
I don't want to say it's small talk, but it is.
It's small talk. Usually, I would say a good probably 40% of our texts are all making plans for actually hanging out in person. And I think
that's what texting should be. Keep it simple. You don't want to have your big conversations via text because then when you get together, you're not going to have anything to talk about.
Just sit there in silence for a couple of hours. That'd be really awkward.
So that's one of my big don'ts. So then, do you have any other things?
That's it for me.
So then we asked you guys over on our Instagram, which is at callyalater podcast, to ask us questions. And so many of you guys asked those questions. It's so exciting. I think we went up like 10 or 15 subscribers in the last, or not subscribers, followers. In the last week, which is so crazy, and we're so thankful. So we have 5 questions that we pulled that we're going to answer. And if you guys have any other questions that you want to be featured on our podcast, just follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we do ask you guys for questions. So the first question is, how do you know if someone likes you? How do you tell them that you like them?
See, this is always so difficult, but every situation is different, but I feel like it's completely different for girls and guys too. Like girls give off certain signs, guys give off certain signs.
So it'll be interesting to see both of our answers. Yeah. I think we could do a whole episode on this as well. So if you guys want to see that, give this video a thumbs up, let us know, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I think for the biggest thing for how do you know if someone likes you, they show interest.
They talk to you.
It's so simple. But you just know, like, if someone likes you, you won't question it. You're like, he likes me or she likes me. There's body language.
Body language is a big one. If they're turned towards you during conversations, if they keep eye contact.
They kind of mimic you. They sit next to you. All those kind of things. Texting, there's texting signs. Like, they respond quickly. They never really leave you on red. They're the one to keep the conversation going. I remember back in high school, this is so funny, I can't believe I'm sharing this, but my friend was dating a boy and she taught me this, and she wasn't dating a boy, she was talking to a boy. There's a difference.
There is a difference. We summarized that difference a couple episodes ago. Check that out.
I'm still like, what? There's a difference? But she would say, like, if the conversation was kind of dying and she was curious if he was into her, she would send a message that, I forget what she called it, but basically there was no question mark on her end. Okay. So if she said, if the conversation dies, he's not into her. But if he pulls the conversation back and like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, the conversation could end.
Bait him just a little bit.
If it's just like, oh, cool, well, you just respond, but you wouldn't ask. There's like no need for them to respond, and then if they respond,
that's how you know.
It's
a good trick.
So that's like a texting one. So I always was like so inspired. I was like, how did you think of that?
Yeah,
I'm a little behind on the game.
It's smart.
And then like I guess that's like so body language, texting, just like the conversations you have with a person. There's conversations.
It's hard to not tell if someone likes you because of how they will act.
I think one of my favorites is when a guy, like if you're on a date or like it's technically down a date and he goes, so are you single? Or like, do you have a boyfriend? Then that's how you know. That's how you know. That's like a boys
that's
do
a dead giveaway.
Yeah. But do you have any other ones?
Those are the big ones. Okay. I mean, there are so many more little small body language tips.
Which we could go in great detail on.
Yes.
So then the second part of that question is, how do you tell them that you like them?
Do it.
I was just going to say, do all the things that we just said if someone likes you.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Honestly, honesty's key. Just be like, I'm really interested in you.
Shoot your shot. Rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah. That is if sharing a little bit of personal life here, that's exactly what I did with her to a certain extent. I asked her, so
How
it's
did
a
you
date.
do it? Yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking and we set up plans and I ended the conversation with, so it's a date.
It works.
You just have to do it. It doesn't matter how you do it as long as you clearly express your intent of what you want out of the relationship.
And I think it goes back to when you start that honesty and communication that early, it's going to make a very healthy relationship. Or like just a dating ship. My new term, dating ship. Okay, second question. How to make a guy... Oh, I think I worded this wrong.
How to make a guy take you serious.
Yes, how to make a guy take you serious.
Yes.
Okay, I want a guy's perspective on this. So how do you, like... So as a girl, I know when a guy's taking me serious when he responds to my text. He's just always kind of like, not always available, but he's down to be available. Like he makes time in his schedule to hang out. Again, body language, is so important. He kind of like picks you out of the group, like that kind of stuff. Now, how does a guy like make it obvious to a girl that he's serious?
Well, it's hard because sometimes they just blatantly aren't interested, and you can't make a guy take you seriously if they're not interested.
Very true.
So if they're not interested, you're never going to get anywhere with them. So you kind of have to be able to realize that ahead of time.
You have to play the game.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Next up is you have to play the game. You have to do just a little bit of hard to get.
Exactly.
And if you play hard to get and they come after you, they'll become serious.
Boys like a chase. And I hate saying that because you don't want to play games. Like games are messy. It's annoying.
Don't play for too long. Just little tiny ones.
You have to do like a little bit of a chase because if the boy knows that he can get you at any time he wants, he's going to lose interest. And then that's going to make you less... He's going to be less serious because he's like, oh, if I call her anytime, she's going to answer.
Exactly.
You don't want to be that girl right away.
Play the game.
You have to play the game just a little bit to get...
But then once you progress further,
then you stop playing the
game.
But there's other games to play. But... Okay, next question.
Okay.
How do you not let your pride get the best of you in a relationship?
This is going to sound kind of harsh, but if you have too much pride, you might not be fit to be in a true relationship.
I think it's important, and I've always said this to all my girlfriends. If you don't love yourself first, it's going to be hard to find love.
I agree with that.
I mean, like a healthy, loving relationship, because you're going to be too, like, insecure about it. You're going to be too worried about yourself to be able to worry about yourself and whoever you're with.
Okay.
And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of have to be your own person before you get into a relationship.
But there's a difference between loving yourself and pride.
Yeah.
If you're, okay, you can have self-pride.
Definitely.
But you can't have too much self-pride. You can't think that you are the greatest person to ever exist. You have to be able to be humble at sometimes and have that give and get relationship.
And it goes back to our communication. It's you have to compromise.
Yeah.
And a relationship's all about that give and take. So I think that's, I don't know, I think you kind of answered that. Okay, next question. Would you ever do a long distance dating and your lookout on it? No. I just couldn't.
No.
I need the personal, like I need John right next to me. Like it's like I have to have that.
Yeah.
But
no.
I don't know, like I feel like it's hard too though, because like say we are dating for so long and then like one of us gets a job far away. Would you continue the relationship? I don't know. Like it really depends because you're like
case by case
basis.
It's
a case by case thing, but I just was never interested in a long distance relationship. I don't think I could do it.
Yeah, no.
But I think that goes into there's a lot of trust that needs to be.
It's very doable.
It's
doable.
Possible. My friends do it. I know tons of people that do it. But you have to have a lot of trust and very good communication skills to make it work.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to leave that one at that.
Yeah.
And the fifth and final question is, what's the secret to a long relationship?
Trust.
Communication.
Yes.
Fun. You have to have like everything just a little bit sprinkled into that relationship to make it work.
Yes.
You have to have, like as weird as it is, you have to have small little arguments to have that healthy relationship. Because if you agree with everything 100%, it's going to get boring.
Arguments make a relationship stronger.
Exactly. Because then you get like better after it. You kind of have a stronger communication after. You want to be able to communicate with one another. That's so important. Yeah. You want to make sure you're having fun with this person. Because you're going to be spending... It turned off. How long did it turn off for?
I don't think it was that long.
Okay. Should we like re-quote the question?
I think we're good. Okay. We'll just let it roll to black for a little bit on YouTube video. Apologies to you YouTube people.
Okay. But I think you have to have a little bit of everything. You want to make sure you're having fun with the person and just kind of like enjoy who you're with. Exactly. If you're not having fun, you're not going to have a long relationship. You know, you have to be able to enjoy the good and the bad times. Exactly. Because arguments suck. Don't get me wrong. They are absolutely terrible to go through. They're not fun. They hurt your feelings. But in the end, they are better for you. Yes. They allow you to agree on more things. And then you learn how to handle that with your person. I mean, the old quote, you fight like a married couple. But there's a reason they're married. Exactly. So I think that's like one of the secrets to a long relationship is, I think, communication, having trust, having fun. Yeah. Having healthy arguments, you know, like not like arguments. I feel like that has such a negative word, but you have to be able to. But you can argue without screaming at each other. Like when we have disagreements, we don't scream at each other. We just talk it out, and I think that's just so important. Definitely. And just being on the same page with the person. Like if you have life goals that the other person doesn't have, you might not have a long relationship. No. Like you have to have similar end game goals to make it really work. Definitely. But so those are our questions. Those are all the questions for the week. Yeah. Okay, so all those questions we got off of our Instagram story, which again, our Instagram is just at callyalater podcast. Yes. Our personals are linked in the bio if you guys want to follow us separately, but you guys should definitely follow us on all three. Little plug. Twitter, callyalater pod. Go check us out. Use the hashtag #tweetyoulater to talk to us. Yes. And yeah, so those are our socials. Yeah. Go check us out. And we got YouTube. And if you're on YouTube. Yes, we are on YouTube as well. And if you are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us a follow, a subscribe, and leave us a review if you don't mind. It helps us a lot. The reviews. Yeah, and if you guys leave us a review, we'll start reading them on here. Ooh, yes, give like a little shout out. Exactly, so definitely leave us some reviews. And next week, we're going to be talking all about emojis. So we're going to be using how we use them in texting, our favorite emojis, the most bold emojis, when and when not to use them. If you guys didn't know, this is the episode that I picked out because I have an obsession with emojis. Bless John for going along with it. It's great. She's gotten me using emojis now. And we're also going to start filming some YouTube content as well for our channel. So if you guys are subscribed, thank you. You guys should definitely check it out. Yes. It is just Call You Later Podcast. Yep, Call You Later Podcast. Simple and easy. And you can subscribe, follow along. Yes. It's a lot of fun. We're going to start our video content, which is exciting. So, all right. I think that wraps up this episode. That does wrap it up. I don't know where my little talking points went. Okay, yeah. So thank you so much for listening. And I guess I'll call you later. Call you later. Bye.